Hello everyone, welcome to our video on potential opportunities for secondary listings on the UAE exchanges. My name is Jiwon Ha, leading the Korea group at Altamimi and Company.
My name is Andrew Taba, and I head up the capital markets team here at Altamimi and Company.
My name is Hayal Barkawi, and I'm an associate in the corporate commercial team. We'll focus on capital markets and corporate M&A.
As a resident, having lived in UAE for the last decade, I'm a witness, have seen a remarkable growth in the local IPO scene over the years. And then that our ECM team has been very busy for the few years. So, Andrew, can you share some insights into what has driven this success?
Yeah, sure. So I would say that really for the last 3 to 4 years here in the UAE and the wider Middle East region, it has been globally the hottest IPO market. And I think an example of that would be the ADNOC Gas IPO last year, which for the first half of 2023 was the largest IPO in the world, which I think, given the exchanges that we look at, Hong Kong, Singapore, London, New York, for that issuance to be the biggest in the first half is an incredible statistic. But you also see the likes of Saudi Aramco listing in Saudi, which, is essentially, the highest market capitalization company, certainly in the Middle East. But you're seeing this hot market where institutional investors, particularly from North America, Asia, and Europe, are finding that the markets are, one, acceptable, they're comfortable, but in many respects, it's also a reflection of the markets that they're coming from were slightly quieter. So the investment opportunity was here in the Middle East. So it's been a real feature that as the markets have got stronger back in Asia, Europe, and US, there is still the demand for IPOs here. And the other major reason is the privatization process. So the government, so particularly Saudi, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi, have gone through some very big privatization programs to bring companies to market. And, they're proving, highly successful. The institutional investors that have come in have really enjoyed it, and they've seen very, very high dividends. So there's a lot that is very favorable. And as markets go up and down, I think we're still sort of bullish that we're still in a good market here, despite all the other markets starting to come back on.
Thanks, Andrew. That's fantastic. As the UAE capital market grows and matures, not only the global investors will look into the market here, but they will also offer some UAE-based companies and issuers to expand their horizon to other markets as well, especially to Asia markets. So, Haya, would you have you seen some recent developments in that regard?
Yeah, so as Andrew mentioned, there's been a very big push from the governments of the different emirates for further collaboration with different markets across the world, particularly with Asian markets. So with the growth and the push for expansion when it comes to tourism and real estate and all the investment that has been coming from that, we've been seeing a lot of interest coming in the corporate space, both from investors wanting to go into the Asian market and vice versa. And just in the last year, I think to what you were saying, we've seen the memorandum of understanding signed recently between the Shenzhen Stock Exchange and the Dubai Financial Market, which aims to further the collaboration between the two exchanges and to develop cross-border relations on a deeper level. And this comes on the back of the Hong Kong Stock Exchange recently adding the Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange and the Dubai Financial Market to its formal list of recognized stock exchanges, which hopefully will pave the way for us to start seeing a lot of cross-listing or secondary listings happening between the two markets, or dual listings happening between the two markets, and watching those economies grow together. And I know that there's been a lot of discussions happening recently at the Dubai Financial Markets Capital Markets Summit back in May. There were quite a few people from different stock exchanges visiting. The Shenzhen Stock Exchange was actually in attendance to discuss their upcoming MOU with the DFM. And there's a lot of collaboration works with different stock exchanges in different Asian countries going on as well.
And it's interesting that last year we saw the Saudi exchange being put onto that list of recognized exchanges for the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. So if you like, you can see a theme. There's a sort of a year-on-year progression in terms of collaboration between East and Middle East. And obviously it's creating a lot of interest and opportunities for both companies that are looking to list over into Asia, but also Asian listed companies that are now finding it very easy to do a secondary listing over here. And we're actually lucky to be acting for one of those companies, which is Hong Kong Aerospace, which is a listed company in Hong Kong, looking to do a dual list into the region. So it's the theme is definitely growing, which is great news for everybody involved.
That's actually very great news to Asian companies, and especially for Korea side. Earlier this year, the UAE and South Korea formally signed a comprehensive economic partnership agreement, CEPA, which we call it. So it's a type of free trade agreement strengthening bilateral ties, but that not limited to lifting the tariffs on export goods, but to seek a future-oriented cross-border transactions, investments. So I really expect those companies come to the UAE.
I think as well. I mean, what's very useful is we have a career group here, which is fully cognizant of the culture, the opportunity, and the sort of businesses that South Korea has. And I think one of the things that's very sort of positive for us is that the industries that are very, very strong in South Korea, like tech particularly, that translates into this region very well because investors are very interested in that sector. So there's again, a lot of opportunity, particularly I think in South Korea.
Yeah. Actually, I have seen a lot of the expansion of Korean investment already into the UAE and the wider region. So that's great, really great to hear. For those Asian countries and Asia-based companies, how do you forecast the next 3 to 5 years how capital market practice will grow?
So I think if you look at the domestic markets themselves, I think we're in a much stronger position in terms of the liquidity and the number of investors. So in terms of us being the receptor of Asian companies looking to dual list here, I think that the market is still going to be very much viable. One thing that is really quite interesting is there is a large number of companies in each of the countries that we've been talking about: South Korea, China, Hong Kong, Singapore. So what is really fascinating is the more and more companies we're seeing, they are really a lot more sort of suitable to list, i.e. they're ready. I think 10 years ago, we saw a lot of companies that were maybe a little speculative. Whereas now we're seeing some much more sort of financially stable companies coming from Asia looking to raise funds here. So for me, the 3 to 5 year outlook is the markets here will be strong. I think Asia is now sort of coming back on strong again, which is great. So, both sides of this are looking very positive. But in terms of the actual candidates that we're seeing that are actually looking at this as a potential opportunity, the standard is getting much higher, which I think is very positive for the next 3 to 5 years.
Thanks for joining, Andrew and Haya. If you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to us. Our career group is happy to answer to any questions on those secondary listings on the UAE exchanges, and our capable ECM practice team would be happy to assist.